Hi guys, how's it going? In today's video, well, it's about a qualification on the subject matter of yesterday's video on which many of you commented. Now, as some of you commented politely and some of you commented in the most disparaging manner, I think it's appropriate that I should basically just set this record straight on this before uploading the next video. So let's go.
Good Lord, didn't anybody here subscribe?
Now, before I start, a special shout out, by the way, to, if I mispronounce your names, I apologize, but to Pedalis, to Chaddy Rat, to Graham Coleman, and especially Neo Ishmailik 2019, who went to extraordinary lengths to provide many links on the subject, and I am in your debt, 209, because I did refer to all of the 8 links you sent to me, including the videos. And I also hope, by the way, that Mr. Rocketman is watching this also. Now, I think it's appropriate to point out that I did have to delete a lot of comments yesterday because some of the language used is not appropriate and it could cause problems with YouTube. Some of it was just downright rude, and given the opportunity to reply with some facts, they refused to do so and just kept being rude, so they just got deleted. So, you know, the video was described yesterday by some as being naive, by being childish, stupid, and provided an opinion that instructed me to stop simply referring to news articles printed in the likes of the Express or the Telegraph, etc. I say in response to this simply, are you guys really serious? I wouldn't depend on using the Express to wipe my dog's backside. I also add this: the reference to the French letter on the UK actions in regards to the fishing issues represented less than 15% of the overall content. The subject matter was contained clearly in the thumbnail. It was displayed concisely in the video title, and the detail was there to be seen in the description and within the text of the video itself. So for those of you that focused on the French issue, I asked one question: why? Especially as there was, for the first time in any video that this channel has produced, a pinned comment that referred to the bone of contention. I think you chose to focus on that issue, i.e. the French issue, and ignore everything else. Now, when it comes to the actual words used, I received, at the last count, the words used by the French president, I received at the last count approximately 16 different copies of the text purporting to be a copy of the letter, and all varied significantly. Now, I did read the BBC retraction of their translation, which brings me to my main point. There are many YouTubers far more proficient than I at getting the news out there. There are many YouTubers who've developed a loyal following. There are many YouTubers out there whose viewing figures would put mainstream media outlets to shame. There are channels like Maximilian's, there's Phil's channel, All Shorts channel, Daily Blase, Outside Views, Michael Lambert's, Big Mash, to name but a few, who try daily to ensure that their content is accurate. The amount of research that these guys put into a video is enormous. To produce a 10-minute video news segment on any TV channel requires a small army of personnel, from cameramen to editors to researchers to journalists to lighting to makeup to We, on the other hand, do not have sponsors and do the whole gig ourselves. If we make a mistake, they are generally small or are quickly remedied. So, not to put too fine a point on it, I've spent the last 16 hours solid researching everything I could on this matter with regard to the French fishermen. And here is my conclusion. In an official reply to Parliament on October the 5th, the tone of the French approach was set. It called for sanctions to be stepped up because the UK had continually, in their view, broken its word and stated, and I'm quoting here, quoting, "Today we see most clearly that Great Britain does not respect the signature which itself gave," and went on further to say that made it possible, we should make it possible to better sanction this serious and repeated failure and to involve the Commission. Okay, so it's asking to step the whole game up. Better sanctions, more sanctions, and because of the repeated failure. Interestingly, if you take the whole statement and translate it using various methods, be they electronic or human, the only contention is really over the word sanction. Some will say it means literally sanctions, and others will say it means punish, depending on which part of France the interpreter comes from. But the net result is that sanctions are what are called for, and they want them stepped up and seriously implemented. Now, whether you call that punishment or something else is as contentious as whether, the egg came before the chicken or the chicken came before the egg. What cannot be denied, however, is that France are pissed off with the UK and vice versa. My point in the video is, and will always be, that unless something radical happens, the EU does not need to be reminded of its duty. It has demonstrated frequently, though not in every circumstance, that it is well ahead of the curve when it comes to protecting the interests of its member states. France, on the other hand, is trying, and legitimately so, to protect her fishing fleet, to protect her voters. Bojo, on the other hand, is trying to protect his own backside, and only by consequence that of the UK's, by whatever means necessary. Now, I honestly do not know who is right or who is wrong when it comes to this fishing issue. My gut instinct tells me that it's most likely a bit of both, but also recognizes that the vast majority of the fishing fleet, of the fishing boats that are less than 12 meters long, could not have been fishing anywhere else other than in the very coastal waters that are in dispute. Now, that being said, however, it also makes sense to me that there will be fishermen in France that were not fishing in those waters and are claiming that they were in order to increase the value of their assets. And the UK knows this quite well. So in summary, I have not been able to source a definitive original copy of the letter doing the rounds, and those that I have reviewed simply cannot be relied upon. However, having been able to source the official transcript of the French Parliament submission paper by Mr Jean Castex, the Prime Minister of France, since July 2020, okay? He did clearly call for a stepping up of sanctions, and that is not, nor cannot be disputed, and I've given the link to the parliamentary submission in the description. On a personal note, let me say this. If ever you think I have inadvertently presented fiction as fact, then please let me know. But if you suggest that I do not research in as much detail as possible, then I'm afraid I can assume that either you've not viewed most of the videos on the channel and have instead chose, as many Brexiteers choose also, to concentrate on a single element of contention rather than the primary message of the presentation. Okay? In short, when you do that, it's a bit like looking for an elephant under a microscope. Appreciate the support. If you've got critical statements to make them politely, but provide factual links. Simply saying, just because the Express says this or the BBC says that, I don't care. I want facts. Facts. Absolute facts. Counter-arguments. That's what makes the Remain campaign and get back to the EU. That's what separates us from Brexit channels like Jeff Taylor and the likes. We use facts. We look at things objectively. We look at things from a macro point of view, and we don't look at things from a micro point of view. Thanks again, guys. Keep safe. Bye-bye.